Hey guys, this is Mekkah, and welcome back to Void's Blitzarre Adventure, Chapter 23. This is one of my more liked maps later in the game, so that's a plus. You'll see what I like about it in just a little bit. So the story is, we're on a boat, we're still on a boat, this is another boat map, and we are fighting the skeleton colony, because they hate meaty things. I bet they hate meaty chip damage too. That's totally fine. So it's a bunch of skeletons, bone walkers, whites. A little bit stronger than the ones you're used to if you've played vanilla FE8. So this is not a joke map. It's actually, I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it's not one to take lightly. This is Mr. Bones, the governor of the skeleton colony. And he has some neat weapons, like a rune sword. He can use dark magic, which is what made me do a double take. And he has Ignis, but I don't think he was too scary because he only has 12 speed, so the throne he's on is probably more annoying than he is. And there's an armory with all kinds of neat stuff. I like the short spears in particular. There's also Reaper weapons, some other stuff. And some of the enemies have some good droppables and strong weapons, like that guy over there had a brave bow. So after the preps, we're going right in. And my plan for this was to get to the boss with 2 flyers holding Jerome and Cilicia, and then everyone else kind of protects the boat from getting invaded so that Edgeworth and to a lesser extent Void don't get killed. I get Jerome and Cilicia over there because they are my best combat units. While they're being rescued, the rally bonuses that Edgeworth provides are being conserved. So the turn that they get dropped, they would keep those bonuses for enemy phase. It's pretty cool. Originally my plan was to drop them near the boss so they could fight the boss with those bonuses, but that didn't happen. You can see I feel that Celica in the first place because she's pretty good against monsters thanks to her Slayer skill, doing triple damage. She's kind of frail though, so she can't survive any monster with a brave weapon. My plan was to also get her up to A staves sometime in the future, because she has B at base, and that means she can use pretty good staves to get to A. And Cilicia also is also nearly at A staves, so that way I would have 2 good staff users. Void has the bonus from Edgeworth, so she can actually fight on this enemy phase. Fight this one white, but the other one has a horse slayer, so I don't want to go too far in. And not Ark and Tim are tasked with defending the other side of the ship. Because Tim spent so much time near Edgeworth in this chapter, he looks a lot better than he might be, but I'm happy with him nonetheless. Much better than Tam now, apparently. Maybe growths do really beat bases when you have a game of 30 chapters. Maybe. So these whites, they're not like super overpowered or anything, but you can't really like ignore them like an old FE8 because they do have like brave weapons, and some of them have Slayer weapons, Reaver weapons. So you want to look at their weaponry before you decide to make your move, but that's all there is to it. So as I said, at first the plan was to drop Jerome and Cilicia near the boss, but I ended up wanting to clear the ship of these 2 enemies before doing that, so that I can visit the armory safely with Wyvern Anna. I also want to visit that village over there. Not sure what it has. Well, I know what it has, of course, but I wasn't at the time. So that's what the flyers are going to do. Sadly, that is most of the commentary I have for this chapter, because the enemies are so spread out that the action isn't very thick. It's just walking towards stuff and getting some enemies on the way. And I remember talking about this with Mangs in Victory or Death on his FE7 LP. For those of you who haven't seen it, all 2 of you, I said that I believe that commentary doesn't always have to be covering the whole video. Like, I think it's okay to be silent as a commentator every once in a while. I know when I'm watching something like the Pokemon official stream for the trading card game, I don't know how many of you watch that, but I think the commentators there have the instruction to never be silent while on stream during a match. And well, for one, saying that doesn't work because sometimes they just have nothing to say and they can't think of anything, so you just have these couple seconds of awkward silence. And it's awkward because you know that they want to say things, but they can't think of anything, so either they end up saying nothing or they end up saying stupid things like filler phrases like, oh my god, this player is such a good player, so he's just mulling over his options, or checking what is prized, or thinking how he wants to respond, that kind of thing. And those phrases feel very empty when you've heard them so often. And I try to avoid falling for the same trap, so if I have nothing to say, I'm not going to say anything. And I'll take my time thinking of something good to say, even if it's not related to content right now. So right here, for example, I had Jerome proc Gale Force off the guy that was weakened on enemy phase. I always try to find opportunities to use Gale Force and then do something else with Jerome for obvious reasons. And this time I'm thinking way too long on how to tackle a Poison Bow white. I don't know why that was such an issue. I guess I think I was still not sure whether Poison had any effects other than lowering your HP by like 3 every turn. I guess that was it. And I was trying to decide if there was like, if I wanted to rally Slicia or if I wanted to rally Jerome. But there's no point in rallying Jerome with Slicia because she rallies resistance. I could probably have taken care to make sure that they got rallied in speed, but it's really not a big issue if you get hit by a Poison Bow. I was just overthinking things a little bit. So I think that Bone Walker over there is a reinforcement, so that confirms what I already thought, that the stairways are reinforcement spots, as they usually are on indoor maps. It's not an indoor map, but it does have stairs. And here I was like, well, Void doesn't have anything to do anymore, because she doesn't want to be anywhere near that white with a Horse Slayer. So I'm just going to have her rescue drop Edgeworth towards 2 people that can actually make use of him. And the Horse Slayer dude, he can just sit on his own. It's not a route map, it's a siege map, which means that Void eventually has to make her way over to the throne. I think I should have thought about that more, because now I have to get her 0 luck butts all the way back from where she walked, but it's fine. This map doesn't seem very time sensitive, at least not right now. As you can see, the map is circular, so you can actually walk all the way around. You don't need to fly or to cross the gap, but that is definitely the quickest way, as usual in Fire Emblem. But it does mean that the enemies can always walk towards something if they want to. And here we see some green reinforcements. This guy's name is Duwile. I'm probably mispronouncing that. And he's some kind of zombie with like a bunch of NPC zombies. I really looked hard to see what he was like a reference to, but I really have no idea. He is a zombie, and he likes to consume enemies, and Void recruits him. So, yeah, it looks okay. And by okay, I mean, the design is kind of funny, but I don't think he's a very good unit. He's kind of slow, and he's locked to stupid monster weapons, and I think the only ones I have are the ones he has in his inventory, and they're like, whatever, they're not super bad or anything. But yeah, now Void suddenly needs to hurry towards the other side. She grabs an X-Reaver to take him on. I don't think she has Edgeworth's bonuses, so she's not as good as she looked on turn 1 enemy phase, but she can at least take a hit. I could have let her attack and then she got hit use of Physic, but I guess I'm still being a little sparing with my Physic uses. And here's a interesting village. Apparently Vigard is a skeleton that likes to use the hammer and staff to repair broken bones. And so we get one, which is great. So now we have Warp Hammer, and I think we have a 1-use rescue staff that I haven't been using ever. If you remember, Evester used up a bunch of rescue staff users in a joining chapter, which was my own fault. But it was pretty funny when it happened, so I kept the save. I don't know if I said it yet, but I really like the music for this chapter. It plays throughout, I think, player phase and enemy phase. It's just really cute. I have no idea what it's from. I'm like an uncultured swine. I don't even know any video game music. I think last few chapters I didn't even recognize the Princess Despair when I was fighting Maida. Oh, I also forgot to mention it's raining in this chapter. It's raining, but it's not as bad as FE7 rain. I think it just cuts mounted movement in half or something, or like reduces it to 5, something like it. Because I'm not very impaired by it, and foot units seem completely fine. It started raining like turn 2. This is an amazing post-commentary thing. And in fact, yeah, Cilicia, I think the rain counts as traversable terrain or something. I don't know how else to explain it, but Cilicia doesn't seem to be impaired. Because she can walk really far still. I was planning on using Gale Force with Jerome on that skeleton dude, but Cilicia got a crit, so it didn't matter. It didn't happen. And here we see just how good brave weapons are against these NPC monsters. The enemy kills one on enemy phase, and then the others are like, wow, I can suicide, let's do it. So this is actually a time-sensitive thing. You gotta recruit do well before he dies. I don't know if he would have died next turn or what. Because these enemies, they all weaken this brave sword or brave lance dude. One of them missed, but it's fine. This allows do well to finish him off. But I don't know how long he can survive in that spot. Maybe he's fine. I don't think the other guy has a brave weapon. He procs his skill. I forgot what its skill was. I think it's called Life Taker. Where if you finish off an enemy, you drain the amount of HP that you took off when killing him. Like, say, he has 20 HP left when you kill him. You do 20 damage. So you heal 20. I think that's how it works. You guys are probably more familiar with, like, Fates and Awakening skills than I am. I've not played Fates, and I've played Awakening a couple of times, but not enough to recognize the skills, which is why I don't think skills work very well in a GBA setting, because I'm not used to looking for them, as I've said like a million times. But I also don't know what they look like, so every time I check a guy's stats, I have to, like, press the info button on all their skills to remind myself what they are. Like, some of them I'll recognize, like I know what Gale Force looks like. But some of them are just completely new to me. So yeah, Void, I figured this guy doesn't have Orslayer, so she can survive for a round, but apparently I still don't want to get her up close. Oh, he has a Lance Reaper? Okay, that's a good reason. So yeah, trying to cover the stairs whenever possible, because don't want to face more enemies than necessary. EXP at this point is not exactly at a premium. I just had Kirsten is ready, she doesn't have anything to do, so I might as well just kill this Horslayer dude. I don't know why I'm using the weapons that I am. At this point I have so many things like Axe Reavers that it doesn't really matter if I'm wasting them. It feels like we're closing in on the end of the game, because the maps feel like late game maps, but we actually have like 5 maps left. I know this is a 30 chapter hack. But it's very weird, because without the narrative, like an actual narrative, you can't really tell how far you are in the game by what the maps look like. Anyway, Jerome is definitely the better person to take care of this boss, so he's gonna do it. Cilicia, as great as she is, she tends not to be very good at bosses because their defense resistance gaps tend not to be that big, and she can't use killer weapons, she can just use thunder. So yeah, kill Lance, GG. Rattle, rattle. Jerome gets a full level up because Paragon on level 10 promoted units makes sense. Honestly, I think this could have been a kill boss map. I don't think much would have been lost, but it is a siege map. And so siege we shall. We'll just fairy Void up, it's fine. That's one of the reasons that Kirsten's clearing the way there. So that she can fly right through and fairy Void upwards. Yeah, Duval is gonna die if we don't do anything. I don't believe Duval even came with like an elixir or anything. But we can physic him if we need to. So I have Void, Kaga, and Cilicia, or Celica. Fuck, I did the reverse mix-up. So I have them available. to get Duval up to full or close to it and recruit him. Apparently Void is just close enough to where she can recruit Duval this turn. I think I actually calculated that when I was playing. So with some help from Kaga, we can clear the guy, and then Void is in range. The clean sort of zombie. I really doubt that, looking at his face. Like, that's disgusting. That's one of the reasons I'm not using him. And also because his growths aren't over 100% on each. That's probably what it would take for me to use that kind of unit. So yeah, now it's just a matter of counting squares to make sure that I can ferry Void upwards. And by counting squares, I mean I'm just going to sit on the stairs because reinforcements might come. A guy actually popped up behind Edgeworth, but I caught on, thankfully. And not Arc can defend him in time. I'm gonna reiterate that Edgeworth is like the most broken unit I have used in this hack by far. Like, the combat units are great and everything, but good god, Edgeworth just flips the game upside down with how good he is. Yeah, so let's just sit through a couple of phases of ferrying Void towards the throne while Celica Cilicia takes poison damage. Yeah, that's why I rescue her, to get rid of that. Sadly, we lost the cheesy music. It happens. See, reinforcement came from the spot that Kirsten was sitting on. I told you, I'm not delusional. So yeah, I don't mind this map because even though it wasn't super challenging or anything, but it was still kind of neat in some ways. It's not a badly designed map. It's not amazing, but it's good. It's fun. Music is fun. The enemies are kind of strong and they're spread out, so rally is not as broken. I thought that was an important part of this map. That you couldn't just rally your way through. But yeah. That pretty much wraps up this chapter. Just trying to decide how to slowly kill this enemy. So we use 9 turns and a save state. All the way at the end. And we get Fidofnir for no good reason. Hooray. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.